I remember what it was like before I'd ever had any peak experiences. I remember I was just so curious. I just really wanted to know because I could kind of tell that there was something there. I could kind of tell in my deep meditations that like this stuff goes so much deeper than I thought. And I was just so hungry for a psychedelic experience, hungry for a mystical experience. Then when I had my first one, when I had my first mystical experience, I was so pleased. I was so happy that it was true because that's what you kind of feel like. You're like, you're unsure. My mind was always skeptical before because spirituality, I kind of could sense it was true. I could sense it was the thing to go for. But I always had that skepticism. I always had that egoic chatter basically that had that narrative of, yeah, but like, what if it's delusion? What if it's self-deception? What if you're just imagining stuff? These days people talk about like having hallucinations in the brain. Now, looking back, I'm like, Jesus, man, that's such fucking bollocks. But back then you actually entertain this stuff. You actually think, no, hallucinations in the brain, materialist paradigm. No, dude, if you want the truth, you go for these mystical experiences. You do them very, very deliberately and very, very mindfully and consciously. Be sensible always. Anytime you have a peak experience, don't fuck around. Don't be an idiot. Take huge precautions and be really responsible. But when you do them, oh my God. I'm just having like flashbacks right now, man, of positive ones. I remember the first time I ever did it, I was with a friend, first sort of mystical experience. And usually I would never kind of be with someone else because I'd always be with myself because you don't want distractions. You don't want someone else, unless they're taking care of you, unless they're trip sitting. You don't want someone else there because really it's an inward experience. So you don't want to be talking. You don't want to be thinking about who else is there. They're going to be interrupting and anything. No. You want the energy to be pure and you want your attention to be turned inward. Oh, but the thing is, this person was really cool, right? So, and of course they were, man. I'm not going to fucking do this kind of thing with someone who isn't cool. And what was great is like we were both having the same insights and I was very articulate and I was voicing like effectively, like I was saying things like, dude, I realized that I'm the universe and I realized that there's nothing but consciousness and so on. And he was just totally understanding and totally picking up everything. And his first language wasn't even English. And yet he could still hear everything because I was speaking to the universal truth that existed for both of us. Yeah, I was speaking to that timeless wisdom that it just came through me, man. It wasn't really Seb speaking it, man. It wasn't me, bro, because like, you got to understand, my ego couldn't have been there for me to have done that. For me to have done that, I'd have to be out of my own way. But honestly, dude, it is the satisfaction of having the experience, especially when you kind of wait for so long before you have it for the first time. Because if you've never tripped before, you'll have fear. You'll have ideas about what's going to happen. You'll be worried about losing your mind. You'll be worried about having a bad trip and stuff. But then you relax yourself. You listen to your wisdom. You trust in the universe. You have the experience and you do so very responsibly. And then you are shown the truth. You see what's up. And you'll kind of think to yourself, man, I was so afraid. Dude, your negative thoughts are not the truth, as you know. Yeah. But now, like, you've never, ever, ever had this much distance and this much clarity and this much consciousness. So it is abundantly clear that you are not your mind, you are not your fear, you are not your ego. You are the universe. What you realize is that this one experience is the clearest, most conscious, most beautiful thing you have ever experienced. And you are just in love with it. You are just like, holy fuck, what does this mean for me now? Now that I've seen this, what does this mean for me, dude? What does this mean for my life? You want to awaken as God. You want to remember yourself. You want peace. You want ease. You want consciousness. You want enlightenment. You want this spiritual stuff. You really, really, really want it. You don't need to shame yourself saying, oh, my ego really wants enlightenment. Fuck that. This is the best desire you can have. I have a fucking strong spiritual desire and it's got me really far with this work. Way, way further than I need to be right now in my path. I'm way ahead spiritually. I had to slow down. And I know that might sound really weird. That might sound kind of egotistical. Like, dude, what do you mean you're so ahead and advanced? What do you mean? What I've realized is that this work is the deepest work that you can do. Therefore, I'm deciding to slow down and enjoy my life more, be a human more, be Seb more, work on my business, work on my career, and then, do the spirituality as I grow older and grow wiser. Yeah. You don't just need to go full balls to the wall with this stuff. I mean, you can, and that's kind of what I did to get to where I am. Like some people do with business. Once you do awaken and have multiple awakenings, because 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 is not enough. You need to really, really do this stuff properly. Once you have these awakenings and you've done all the other spiritual work, you've purified your ego, you've basically spiritually purified everything that is you, and you start embodying this wisdom and this stuff, then yeah, you can kind of like slow down and enjoy life a bit more. Anyway, back to the peak experiences, man. Dude, there's nothing else like it. You won't have a reference point that is outside of this to compare it to or to relate it to. There's no other reference that comes close. Why? Because a peak experience, a mystical experience, exists outside of time and outside of space. Yeah, outside of relative time and space. Yeah. So it transcends this normal stuff that we think is real. And it's not just the ideas of it. No, it's the actual experience of it. So it'll freak you out a bit. You're like, oh my God, everything's the same thing. It's all one space. There's no time. Oh my fucking God. Yeah. This will permanently change your spirituality. Before, you think spirituality is about meditation, you think it's about yoga, or living a conscious and mindful life. Yeah, it is about those things. It is. But what about true, deep spirituality? What about the next level? What about more advanced levels? What about mystic levels? What about sage levels? What about spiritual master levels of spirituality? What does that look like? What does it feel like to be an ascended master? What does it feel like to have an awakening experience? What is the experience of being enlightened like? Don't rush to awaken. You don't need to, man. You don't need to. Take it slow. Be wise. Enjoy the process. And savor these peak experiences. Because when you look back at your life, you'll think, when did I really have it? When did I really experience it? What will come to mind is these peak experiences. And maybe you've already had some. In that case, you're very much connected to this message, I'm sure. And then the final thing I'll say is, if you want my personal help, if you want me to work with me one-to-one, I do offer coaching and mentoring. If you want to get the most out of this, man, you can see the link in the description. You can book a call with me. So if that speaks to you, that's there for you. If not, no worries. Otherwise, we're going to wrap things up there. My friend, lots of love. Take care. And as always, peace.